his oldest is holding the youngest, and they're taking pictures. And I got really emotional. Like, I had to excuse myself, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna miss them growing up. So stuff like that is that's what I'm going to miss.
The Fora is about connection. One of the primary forms connection takes in each of our lives is friendship. This is a story about friendship and change and the joy and heartbreak that come with that over time. Psalms Singleton is our guest. He's one of Kenan's best friends. We get to hear the story of how they met, how their friendship has changed over the years, and how they're thinking about weathering a big change that's coming.
The purpose of the Fora is to connect people, especially people who come from different backgrounds. Psalms is one of my favorite people, and I'm very excited to share his story with the world. He's a person of very deep faith, and if you're a person who doesn't come from an organized religious background, or you're not a person of faith, chances are you might not get to see the world through his eyes. So I'm very excited for you to get to do that. So we hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast.
Welcome to the Fora Podcast, a space where real people share real stories. Every episode opens a door into someone else's world with unexpected turns and honest moments that spark connection. I'm Cheryl Crupi, mom, writer, athlete, and artist. I'm curious about what connects us, and I believe every person holds something unexpected and beautiful.
And I'm Kenan Comer, dad and coach. I'm passionate about doing hard things. My favorite way to learn is by listening to people and their stories.
I'd love to start by you introducing each other. You can go first.
Psalms is a longtime friend of mine. It's kind of funny hitting mid-30s where I have friends that I met as an adult, quasi-adult, 20-year-old that I still have. That being said, Psalms is one of my closest friends. You asked me to describe it in 10 words or less was a little prompt you gave me earlier. Yeah. And I just was thinking Psalms is just a great man and a great friend.
Psalms, what about you?
Yeah, I've known Kenan for a long time. You know, I'm very picky with my friends. I have a very small circle. And for Kenan to be a part of the small circle after all of these years, that's a big deal to me personally. I've always admired his intelligence, his loyalty, and the love that he has for family. And to be a part of his family and his daughters and kind of feel like an uncle, it's really a highlight in my life. But yeah, in all, he's a dependable person. He'll literally give you the shirt off his back. So I really do admire those things about him.
So you met in your early 20s. What kept those bonds of friendship going over all those years?
It's a great question. I would say the personalities mesh very well between my family and his. I think that's big because you can be in the same room and not do anything, but like you're enjoying each other's presence. Like we literally have developed that type of bond to where, you know, we just depend on each other if that's needed. So
yeah, Kenan, I'm going to ask you more specific questions. So how are you two the same, and how are you different?
How are we the same? I think we're both dedicated to family. I think we both think about doing our best to be excellent husbands, and we definitely both outkicked our coverage with our wives.
You have to explain that.
Basically, we married up for sure.
Both of you.
Both of us,
and you both agree that's true.
100%.
100%, yeah.
100%.
Our wives are both incredible people. They're both very hardworking. They're both fun to be around. They both care about other people. They're
beautiful too.
They're also, gorgeous women inside and out. So, you know, I think that's something that brings us together because we both feel like we kind of hit the jackpot there.
How are you different?
How are we different?
I'm glad she asked you that question.
I am like a sort of like a warm caramel complexion. Psalms is a little bit more like a 70% cacao, I guess. That's one difference. No. How are we different? I think Psalms is a little more outgoing than I am. I'm a little more reserved. Yeah, I think.
If someone were to look at your shoes in your closet, what would they find?
In my closet?
Both of you. All
right. I can guess. Psalms had to look away from the mic because he's about to bust out laughing. I dressed up for Psalms today. In fact, when he walked in, he thought I stole his shirt. I'm wearing a pair of like cowboy boots, and these are like my nice shoes. So that's like a great difference. Style, which I think is an expression of our personalities. Mine is very toned down. I'm much more of like a neutral, earth tones, denim, beige shirt.
Cowboy boot kind of dude.
Yeah, whereas Psalms has some flair. Like, I mean, what he's wearing right now is like this, like, nice polo shirt with like very floral pattern. Psalms just has more flair to his personality.
Wait, we have to hear about his shoes.
Shoes. Sorry, I got off topic. What does Psalms have in his closet?
What do I have in my closet?
Gucci, Prada.
I don't want to come off like pretentious at all. I'll be honest with you. My wife has gotten me into the habit of buying quality things. Growing up, I would always follow trends. As I've gotten older, like I tend to lean more to things that will last longer. So that's my disclaimer. But yeah, my shoes, I have a lot of shoes. I'm very eclectic. I like to dress for the occasion.
My shoe game is strong too.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I'm with you.
Yeah, that's Psalms style in general, and his shoes are like an extension of it, an expression of his interest and his personality, and like conversation pieces, which I think speaks to how like social Psalms can be. Whereas mine's very utilitarian.
Just so our listeners know, can you tell me a little bit about your family, and then we're going to go to you, Psalms.
Like my family, like
your immediate family. You talked about your wife. What's her name?
Oh, sure. Yeah, my wife Alex, and then my two girls, Mila and Rory. Mila is 3 years old, 3 in a few months. Rory is 9 to 10 months old, if you count the weeks.
All right. And Psalms, tell me about your wife.
Wife's name is Haley. Don't have kids. We do have a fur baby. Her name is Bella Mystique Singleton. Yeah, that's my immediate family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's, Psalms, tell us a little bit about you. What are the things from your upbringing that really formed you?
I think the biggest thing, being somewhat of an only child, and I say somewhat because I do have a half brother. Him and I were never raised together. Primarily, I'm raised by my mother. So for the most part, only child, and I've always appreciated seeking companionship and loyalty for those companions and friendships and things of that nature. So that's always drove me to strive to build relationships that last. I think that's the thing that has shaped me the most. I'm a very good observer, and I don't want to say a person that's a good judge of character, because I don't look at myself in that respect, but I tend to be reserved first and examine and develop a thought process, then engage. That has allowed me to pick and choose who will become into, or who would come into my circle of friends, and I've always had that same process and pattern.
Where are you from?
I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Beach boy, 843.
What's that mean?
Area code.
Oh, okay. Got it. And you all met in college?
I was in school at UNC, but we met in our Christian congregation.
How old were you?
I was 20.
I was 21.
And were you immediately friends?
No.
What happened?
You know what? Actually, I don't know. That's a great question.
I feel like I'm trying to remember how this worked. So when I moved into the congregation, right, I was in school at Chapel Hill. I was a senior, but me and Alex decided to go ahead and get married. We were looking at where we were going to live because she was living with her parents at Apex. I was living out of a closet that somebody was letting me crash. It was like half a walk-in closet with a mattress in it that I was living at for free, south of Chapel Hill. And so we were looking at where we were going to be, and I was like, I'm still in school at Chapel Hill. We should live around there. So we moved in to this little duplex off of 15501. What was that area called, that little shopping center right there? It was new at the time. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't recall.
God, what was it called?
It's probably not there anymore. So.
If you're like OG from that area, the Dockside Seafood
joint,
I lived across from that.
That place is probably still there.
It might be. Yeah, anyway. So I lived right across the street from that in this little duplex. That's the first spot we got. I think our rent was like $750. Super cheap. Anyway, so that's where we're going to move into. I moved in a couple months ahead of time before we got married. So this is like my first place that I had like just to myself. So like the parties were at my house, and that continued even after we got married and Alex moved in. And so like Psalms got invited to that stuff, and then I think we just hit it off. I think there's a distinct memory, and we will not repeat what the joke was. But I remember there was like a time you were hanging at my house, and then you were standing a little bit in the dark, like as I was coming in or something, the light wasn't on outside, and you scared me. I was like, oh! And then I said something, which we will not repeat. We will not repeat, but Psalms died laughing. And I think...
He's actually dying laughing now.
He's leaned 3 feet away from the mic right now, but he knows what I'm talking about. So like, I think in that moment, when I say Psalms has a great sense of humor, and I think I tested that. And then from that point on, we were kind of like, oh, like...
That was the bonding moment.
We got each other. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So I got to ask you, Psalms, your face is priceless. Tell me about your memories of this time.
You know, it's incredible because sometimes our memories are not unlocked until other people start talking. And yeah, I remember that night very clearly. But yeah, yeah, as he's talking, I'm realizing everything that he said. I remember. You know, his house wasn't like a party house. It just happened to be like, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Hey, come through, kind of thing. And yeah, and it just became like our mutual friends became friends, and we just started from there. But yeah, like we have a lot of good memories.
The slogan was Walmart's only 2 minutes away, so if we needed anything, we'd make a little field trip to Walmart. But Madison and Kenny ended up at the house at the same time, and they met. And lo and behold, now they have a little like 18-month-old son who just started walking. So like they met at our house, fell in love, got married, and like have a family now. So like stuff like that's happening. So man, I just thought of a memory. We were talking about clothes and stuff. You remember that silver suit you wore to my wedding?
Stop it, bro.
Oh my gosh. All right. Psalms, tell us about it.
No.
No, this is a great story because it's about where Psalms was. It tells you something about where Psalms was at that point when he procured the suit. He wore it to the wedding. The wedding was a little, let's say, a little rough at a certain point, and then afterwards, your current wife. Did she make you get rid of it, or she saw a picture of what happened?
No, she made me get rid of that. So yeah,
tell us how you got the suit.
The
silver suit.
Yeah, the Silver Surfer. Yeah, so I was married before. It didn't last long. We had this small apartment in Carborough, North Carolina, and I think it's easy to say that I was down on hard times, but I was taking the garbage out, and I saw this silver suit laying in the dumpster behind the apartment complex, and it was name brand.
Perry Ellis?
Sean John.
Yeah.
Okay. Sean John. And I didn't climb into the dumpster. The garbage was raised up enough in order for me to reach in and grab it, and graciously, it was still hanging on a hanger, top and bottom, suit and pants. So miraculously, it was the same size that my other suits were. So, I wore it on. Back then, I didn't have any style. And when I say it was silver, it was like aluminum foil silver. It was shiny. If the sun hits it in one angle, it might cause a distraction. So they're getting married, and I was like, hey, great time for me to break out this suit. And I think I found like a fedora or something.
Definitely a fedora.
Yeah, it was a fedora.
Some aviators.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to just wear this. And so, I went to the wedding, and yeah, it was a little emotional because I had just gone through like the issue with the past wife, and so anyway, so I just kept the suit, never wore it again. That's a lie. I wore it like 2 times after that, but not in the presence of people. And so I just kind of
wait. Hold on, you just wear it at home?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it still fit.
Just to have the option.
Well, honestly, it was like, hey, should I keep this thing? Like, and
standing
I was
in the mirror, rubbing your hands together. Yeah.
So I was like, nah, I'm just put it back in the closet. And so, when my wife and I were dating, and she said, hey, what's this? And I said, oh, man, let me tell you the story about the suit. And she said, no, get rid of it. Get rid of it. So I was like, yes, ma'am.
That's really funny.
So, yeah, that's the story of the silver suit.
Oh, my gosh. I want to back up a little bit to when you were a little younger. When we were preparing for the session, you talked a little bit about your background in music. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. I mean, you're a retired hip-hop artist.
Yeah, you could say that. So, yeah, when I was coming out of high school, some friends of mine introduced me to this group, and they wanted to see if I'd be interested in performing with them at our high school talent show. So I was like, yeah, let's try it. Like, I've never done it before, nothing to lose. So I think I wrote like a couple of lines, and like we performed it, and I got a rush of, we just had like some high school classmates there, anything major. But I was like, this kind of feels kind of cool. Like I kind of like the attention, so to speak, of performing. And so like I approached him afterwards, one of the guys, and I was like, hey man, like how long you been doing this? He's like, hey, I've been doing this for like a couple of years now. And I was like, hey, so what all is involved? And he invited me over to his house. He helped me write my first song. Helped me in the sense of he was teaching me how to put together a song properly. And we recorded it, we performed it, and I kind of got hooked. I said, man, this is really, I like this. I like this. And so from there, we started our own group. That didn't really last that long. And then eventually I started doing my own thing, recording my own songs, actually going to the studio, which that was a whole crazy experience. And I did some shows on my own, which was really cool. Yeah. Right now, like I never really pursued it. I had other things that took my focus away from music, but I still, from time to time, I still like to make music when I can, when I have time.
What was crazy about the recording studio?
Oh, man, I've never been in something like that. I've never been in a professional setting like that, working with an actual producer and engineer. I felt like it was something that I never experienced before, because previously I would just make music in my own recording studio, so to speak, on my own devices. But to be in an actual studio and studio booth and having the producer tell you this and don't speak it this way, and I mean, that was just a crazy experience, and I enjoyed it.
How old were you?
The last studio session, I've done it, a few times. The last studio session I had was a couple years ago, honestly. But when I was doing music full time, in that sense, I was about 18.
Do you have any advice for people who aspire to that? And what did you learn from the working in a professional setting with a professional producer?
I would say be a student of the art of writing. If you perfect writing, it saves you a lot of time. When I write songs, it takes me a while. I'm too technical. I feel like this age of music now, there's a lost art of writing. Everybody's focused on making hits, being catchy. But when I was growing up, everything was more conscious based with the material in the writing. I stand on that. I'm a storyteller. I like to write things that will move an individual. So I can only speak on that. And if that's an individual that likes to storytell, perfect the craft of writing and get lost in the art, because it can save you time and money. You don't have to be in a studio for 2 hours writing with the producer. You could write it on your own time and then go to the studio to actually perform the song.
Now, what I'm hearing is that you still have a deep love for music and love creating it. Being a recording artist, though, I know you didn't love as much. I think that's not an unusual story. What do you think went sideways?
I don't think anything went sideways, so to speak. I would say my focus changed. I grew up. I realized that there's a lot you have to really commit to becoming an artist. I was never really committed to becoming an artist. I like the idea of making music. I think that's the biggest difference. Had I had the desire to become an artist, there were a lot of different things I would have had to sacrifice, and I wasn't willing to do that. But for the sake of my focus, I've never looked at it as a professional thing. That, for example, like I love to play basketball, but there was never a shot for me to go to the NBA, never. But I still enjoyed playing the game, and it's the same with music.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
One thing I'm really wondering about is when you two are in the car together, who picks the music?
It probably depends on the context.
Well, we have similar taste in music. That's the thing.
That's
so
true. We meet. There's intersection. I listen to a bunch of like heavy metal, hard rock and stuff, which is not how like Psalms came up or stuff that he listens to. But I kind of listen to whatever as long as it's good.
My musical catalog is all over the place. Like I always have this saying, you can tell a lot about a person by their Pandora's list. My Pandora's list is all over the place. So it's very eclectic. So in that sense, we have similar tastes.
I feel like it's maybe not taste, but a similar appreciation for different types of music. So like the first time I got exposed to that, I forget what it's called. It's like the sort of new like African rhythms that are coming out.
Afrobeats?
I guess Afrobeats, yeah. So like the first time I really came across popular Afrobeats music, like who would be an artist?
DeVito.
Right. So you've got DeVito Pandora on at your house when they invite us over for dinner and it's playing. I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool. So
nice.
I'd say we just have an appreciation for music in general.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem.
No.
I love discovering new music, man. It's very therapeutic.
Dear listeners, we want to let you know how much we appreciate you listening to the Fora Podcast. We're learning and evolving with every episode that we record and produce. This would not be possible without your support and especially your feedback. We ask that you take advantage of the comment sections in both Spotify and YouTube to let us know what you loved and what we could do better. Now, let's step back into the Fora.
All right, I want to take a more serious turn. In our prep session, Kenan, you said something that's really stuck with me. Psalms is the first guy that people call when they have something going on. Tell me more about that. Can you think of a moment?
Yeah, so it was hard for me to think of a single specific moment, but it's more a pattern of Psalms behavior. So when Psalms was describing, I did a terrible job describing Psalms. I was like, he's great, he's awesome, he's a good guy, which is so generic. But he was very specific. He said I was reliable. That's very flattering to me because that's how I think of Psalms. He's like one of the most reliable people I know, especially in a time when somebody needs help. He's ready to respond. After a natural disaster, the first team they send in to like go help people get back on their feet, like that is kind of Psalms' personality. And it's not always in a crisis, like it's just thoughtful. So like, you know, Psalms is really good, and Haley's really good at this too, of like understanding when and how to offer help. For instance, we get home from the hospital with our second kid. Psalms and Haley aren't the group of people that are texting us like, hey, when can we come over and see the baby? Because that's annoying, and they know that. We get a doorbell notification. We look outside. They're driving away, and there's a bunch of food, like, you know, there's our dinner, you know, on the doorstep. And then we send them a thank you text and they're like, hey, don't mention it. We just wanted to take care of you guys. That's Psalms. So like just reliable like that. Fortunately, I haven't had, I was trying to think of like a moment of crisis or something like that, but Psalms function in our congregation right now. So we're still in the same, and we're not in the Carborough congregation. We're in a Durham congregation that we moved to together. Psalms' role there, he's an elder in that congregation, and that means that he's a shepherd, right? He's taking care of the flock being the people there, the people who come. So I have seen or been with Psalms when he gets a text or a call and he's like, hey, I need a minute. And it's just somebody who needs to talk. Or it's like, you know, Psalms, you seem tired. And he's like, yeah, I was up till 3 a.m. last night. Somebody had a medical emergency and they needed help talking it out or figuring out what to do or some guidance. And Psalms is the one who's up with them, driving out to meet them at the hospital type of deal. That's what I've seen.
And if this is part of being an elder, the role that you have in your congregation, this is something that you welcome. I'm curious where that comes from.
Where does it come from? I think having the role or not having the role at all, that's just who I am. My mom raised me to care for people. I think being raised by, you know, my mom, my aunt, and in some extent, like my cousin, who are all women, allowed me to create the quality of empathy and really develop that. And some people would say I'm a bit too sensitive, and sometimes I probably would agree with that. But you know what? It's helped me to be who I am and to really care for people. So I just to me, it's like I feel like the world needs more empathy for people. Period. and it's really it's a little odd hearing someone describe myself with having that quality, because I don't do it for recognition, but it does make me feel good to hear someone else who's seen me in moments where I need to help someone out. It does feel good, to hear that.
As a mom, I get lots of calls. I have a lot of kids too. I get lots of calls, and I have to say that sometimes I see the phone ring at an unexpected time. My heart kind of skips a beat. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially when it's like an odd time during the day, or when you're supposed to be sleeping. Our brain always goes to the negative first. So yeah, I think that's a pretty natural thought.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this, and I'll just say what I mean, and you can agree or disagree. But so like Psalms, it's almost as if he's been drawn towards that position of being, that shepherding figure. It's not like becoming that figure. He had to learn how to take care of people. Psalms' baseline was wanting to take care of people. And I imagine that's part of what drew you to aspiring towards that role, because it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. It's not like you just go, hey, I want to do this, and they're like, all right, go ahead. You have to show that you qualify for it and put in a lot of work.
I agree.
Do you have any role models that you think of? I mean, I feel like I'm similar. Mm-hmm. And I know that there are people in my life that kind of modeled that for me. It's not like I want necessarily to be mom to the world, but I kind of can't help it. It's just sort of how you are. And I know that came from, people in my family and role models that I really respected. Is there someone you think of that really taught you this?
Outside of my mom, because that's like a safe answer. I would say, honestly, like the biggest influence, we mentioned his name before. His name is Sam. And, he's like a big brother. And the thing that I really appreciate him is that he's a straight shooter, but he's tactful, and if he feels that you're going in a different direction, he's not as blunt as his brother, Jake. But Sam is more tactful. Both of them are great in their own right as far as dishing or giving advice. I just prefer the softer approach because I relate to that. But sometimes you do need a little bit more bluntness, and both of them, I would say, would be great influences. But I would say definitely more so Sam, because he's, him and I talk like almost every other day. So,
have you ever had to really call someone out in one of these supportive conversations?
What do you mean, call someone out?
That's a good question.
Yeah, like you see someone who's their actions maybe don't match their values, or where they've landed is predictable and regrettable.
I've had to do that. It's not an easy conversation. Yeah, it's not an easy, and that's because I'm not really a confrontational type of guy. If I could throw hints there, be like, hey, it's probably not a good idea, kind of thing, I'd rather go that route as opposed to being a little bit more direct. But yeah, I've had to correct people.
When we were preparing for the session, you said you like to go deep, so I'm not asking you to describe a situation necessarily, but I'm asking you to think about yourself in the situations where you've walked away and felt like, wow, I really did a good job. Like that was really in service to the other person. What did you do that you felt like you really provided the care that you wanted?
That's a great question. I think it'll be a cop-out to use the providing of the groceries that Kenan just mentioned. But, okay. A couple weekends ago, we were in Asheville, and my family, we were having dinner, and we ate outside. And I noticed a car coming up to a stoplight, and the left back tire it looked like a blanket wrapped around the wheel. And my first thought goes, oh, wow, that's going to either catch on fire or that's going to cause an accident. So I jump up. I don't explain to the table where I'm going. I just go. And I approached the lady in the car, and she had no clue. She was like, I was wondering what that sound was. And this is all at the stoplight. And so I said, hey, I don't have a knife on me. Like, do you have anything? She's like, yeah, I have a knife. So we've discussed I like nice clothes, right, and shoes. But at that point, I didn't care. So, like, I got underneath the car and tried to use the knife, which was very dull, to cut the blanket away from the wheel. I was unsuccessful. She found another knife that was sharper, and I was able to cut most of it off. We were able to remove it. It caused some traffic. A lot of people didn't know what was going on. But, so yeah, when I came back to the table, my wife just kind of gave me this look, a good look. And we didn't talk much more about it. So maybe that's a good example of what you're describing.
That's lovely. Kenan, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. There's a saying that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And I mean, it's so fun to hear you guys rediscovering memories and talk about your history. This story is about Psalms. I'm wondering, what 1/5 of you is Psalms?
Taking care of people. Psalms is ready to hop in at a moment's notice and just do the thing. Take care of people, right? That's not necessarily my personality. My personality is like, let's figure this out so that you can do it, right? I don't know, something about that, like, and this is not like a value judgment, but it's like a give a man a fish or teach a man to fish. I'm not good at when somebody just needs the fish. Like when somebody's really actually very hungry and starving, they're so hungry they can't think about learning how to cast a rod, right? And here I am trying to teach them how to tie a lure. That's where I go, and there's been I've created frustration for other people and myself in my life by doing that. When really, learning from Psalms, it's like, oh, like I just need to take care of you in this moment right now, just to get you back on your feet or whatever it is. You just need the thing, so let me just give it to you. I'd say that's probably the 1/5 of me that is Psalms.
And Psalm, same question to you. What 1/5 of you is Kenan?
Kenan is I mentioned earlier, he's intelligent. And intelligent in the sense that, like, his thought process is different from mine. I think how you just described it about, like, teaching someone how to fish, I think that's perfect. Like, for instance, he could watch a YouTube video on how to make a table from scratch and make the table. I can probably watch the same video, but I don't have the tools to make the table. Kenan's, I'll tell you what, like, if we, if the world was coming to an end tomorrow, he would be the individual I would 100% be next to, because he's a survivalist, and I don't have that survivalist type of thought process. So that would be the 1/5.
Wow. You're his zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. No, I'd be happy to have Psalms too. Psalms is
That's awesome.
In the group.
So I want to talk about, like, what's happening right now. So Psalms, you and your wife are experiencing a big call right now. You're called to mission work. This is something that you've wanted for years. I think you said 7 years you've been applying for this. Can you talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the next couple months?
Yeah, so my wife and I have been applying for the opportunity to be sent anywhere in the world to help out another congregation who may be in need of help in the preaching work of preaching in the sense of spreading the Bible and the good news. So what that requires is that we go to a school for 2 months to learn tactics and skills and things of that nature that could help improve our teaching ability. And so, yeah, we go for 2 months, and then after the 2 months, get sent to another location in which we are able to apply those skills that we've learned for the past 2 months.
In this assignment, what do you and Haley hope to gain?
Well, number one, we hope this process draws us closer together. We've never done anything like this before. It's a brand new thing. So one, it draws closer, but two, I think it goes back in a circle, just being able to help and care for people who may not have the same tools that we may have or resources that we may have. So anything that we can help to improve in that area would be a gain.
I'm sure that you have a lot to offer. I'm very excited for the people that do not know yet that you're going to be a force in their lives.
I was actually really interested in that question because the congregation you're in now needs help. You're helping a lot of those people, specifically the young men, right? Which you're really good at. You're going to go to the school, which means you have to put the rest of your life on pause for 2 months. Your wife has a business. You have work. You have your home here and all that. You're going to be uprooted and sent somewhere else. Well, you might just end up be doing the exact same thing. What it sounds like is part of it is drawing you and Haley closer together. It's like an adventure you two get to go on to exert yourselves for the good news, for God, drawing each other closer. It doesn't seem like it's about being practical in that sense. It's about drawing closer to God, closer to Haley, and exerting yourselves after something and going on an adventure together. That's really what you get out of it. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Yeah, man. I've never unraveled it, but to its core, that's what it is. It really is one big adventure, and it affords the opportunity for you to draw closer to your partner. Obviously, because you're with that person on the adventure, so that's naturally to happen. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
That stood out to me because I'm always thinking of ways that, like, how do we productively find discomfort? Because when you're comfortable, you end up being stagnant. You're not finding out what you're made of and the things that you could accomplish. And that's one thing I admire is, like, you're putting yourself out there. You're not a slave to being comfortable.
Kenan, do you have any wishes for Psalms as he and Haley head off into this adventure?
Oh, wishes for them? Yeah, no, I think they're going to be great. Hopes? I just hope that they're able to, I know it's going to be a whirlwind for them regardless. I just hope they're able to be present for it and enjoy it, and enjoy the struggles and the triumphs that no doubt they're going to run into, And this is the thing, like, you could be sent to, you could be sent to Africa, to Asia, you could be sent to Kentucky. We don't know. But no doubt it's going to be an adjustment and a change. And I know you're going to be excited to do all of the work that it takes. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say this.
Go.
I don't know if you feel this way, and I'm not saying you're lazy, but like our wives, that's one thing our wives have in common is that they are hard workers. Mm-hmm. Like Haley, she's one of the hardest workers I know. So I know that that's not something you're afraid of, is hard work and change.
I really admire your sense of call. And I know that in answering any call that there are costs, personal costs. We've talked about what you hope to gain from this. What will this cost you?
We've saved up for a while, being that we've applied several years. So each year we just keep saving. So we're prepared for, and really what we're saving up for, obviously the expense of pausing for 2 months and also moving expenses in the event that we have to relocate. But wherever we end up, we'll be okay as far as work and things of that nature.
I actually was asking, I'm sorry, I was very unclear. I meant more like personally, from a personal perspective. And I can give you a more personal story for me. So I have a friend, much like you all, my best and longest friend. I told you my husband and I met in Chapel Hill. We met at a bike shop, and she was one of the other bike shop girlfriends. And like I said, my oldest friend, I mean, been friends since I was in my 20s, held each other's babies for the first time, job loss, all the things. About 5 years ago, she and her husband decided that they wanted to move to Europe. They wanted their kids to have a European upbringing. So my best friend moved to Geneva, and she lives really far away. And it broke my heart. Like, I miss her so much, and I'm so happy for her that she's pursuing this great dream with her family. But it cost us both a lot, when your best friend is that far away. It's really difficult. You're leaving behind your family, place you've lived for decades. It's a lot to make that choice. I mean, obviously you did it eyes wide open, but what are you leaving behind?
So, yeah, family, friends, my whole life is here. It's funny that you asked me this question, and I promise you it's not because Kenan's right next to me. I promise you. It's just a perfect segue. So the other day, 2 days ago specifically, my wife and I were handling an assignment for our spiritual, we have a spiritual convention where thousands of people come from the area and Bible talks and all of that nature for the weekend, and it's in Winston-Salem. And we were helping with this assignment. We're in this special room, and Alex, his wife, and his two daughters come in, and they're playing with Haley. I'm off to the side, and I just kind of look to my left, and they're taking pictures. The two daughters, his oldest is holding the youngest, and they're taking pictures. And I got really emotional. Like, I had to excuse myself, and I'm like, man, I'm going to miss them growing up. So stuff like that is, that's what I'm going to miss. The growth of people, relationships that I've had for a long time, I'm going to miss. Not to say that we're never going to communicate, but being with someone physically is what I'm going to miss. I'll just say that without getting like super emotional.
That's like, you read my mind exactly. I was thinking about, there's these, there's a picture that one of Mila, one of Rory when they're newborns and you're holding them. And then there's a million pictures of you with my kids. They live right down the road. They live 7 minutes away from our house. And I was like, man, like, it's kind of heartbreaking because Mila's 3.5 years old and she's like a person. You interact with, you talk to her, and she has ideas and games she plays and she remembers things. But then it's like, I was like, wait, like, where are all the people? Like, who do I remember from being 3.5 years old? And like, I don't want, I don't want Mila to be older, looking back at like pictures from when she was young and being like, who's that? And me having to be like, I'm about to get emotional actually. And me being like, that's Psalms. Like, I want her to know Psalms her whole life, because he's like a real part of our family. He's he's just a real part of our family, and he really is just like he's like an uncle to those kids. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Now it's all right.
Woo!
You said you were going to go deep.
Where the tissue?
Right. Wait, they're in the drawer. They're in the top drawer.
That'll be all right.
Wow. All right. I got to tell you, so my kids call my friend Heidi Aunt Heidi. Mm-hmm. We've had to be very intentional about how we see each other. In fact, one of the great joys, I love the job I have, and I took it for a lot of reasons, but one of them was I knew I'd go to Europe every year for work. And we just make a point of seeing each other every time we're on the same continent. So,
well, hopefully we don't get sent to another continent, so that'd be great. You know, if we can take a plane to somewhere in the U.S., I mean, we can do that. So,
I mean, even if you do, it just gives us an excuse to go there.
That's true.
I mean, you'll have to come back home for some stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll
but
always
it's different.
Yeah.
It is,
I mean, there's everyday friends and far-flung friends that are just different.
It's true. Yeah.
What's your hope? I think this will be the closing question, but if you get, I mean, you clearly have a lifelong friendship. That's real. If you think about yourself in 10 years, you guys are both in your mid-40s, and you look back on this transition and, you know, you're both going to change tremendously. What's your best wish for what your friendship is going to look like in 10 years?
You want to go first?
I don't know.
I'll go first. That's easy. Well, first, that the bond stays strong, obviously. Yeah, him and his family, like, they mean a lot to me and my family. So I don't foresee that the bond disintegrating or anything like that. So, you know, just wish him and his family success, continuous success, is, you know, kids to grow up strong and, you know, loving like his parents are. Yeah, you know, the only thing that's going to change is the distance. And that's that's the ultimate thing I hope is the only thing that changes. Just the distance, and I think everything else should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be guided by intention. So, like, yeah, I could hold that. Let's just keep it strong. I would love, in 10 years, I'll have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. I would love to have a place to send them, you know? Yeah. If they need to, you know, I don't know, see Malawi or something like that, you know? I would love a place to either send them or to go visit with them or something.
You see, he just signed you up to go somewhere hot.
Oh, that's right. You said you don't like the heat.
Malawi's good, though.
Is it?
There's a beach.
That's true.
Yeah.